We're about to dive into one of nature's greatest magic tricks. How in the world does a lush green paradise just spring up from the middle of a barren desert? Well, let's find out.
So picture a desert. What comes to mind? Probably this, right? Just endless sand, a blazing sun, an environment where, let's be honest, life seems pretty much impossible.
And the conditions are just brutal. I mean, temperatures can soar to 50 degrees Celsius, that's 122 Fahrenheit, and some spots get less than 20 millimeters of rain in an entire year. Any water that does fall just vanishes instantly. So yeah, forget about farming. Which brings us to this huge question. How on earth did vibrant cities not just survive, but actually thrive out here for thousands of years? It just doesn't seem to add up.
To solve this mystery, we've got to look beyond what we can see on the surface. You see, the first part of the answer isn't on the sand, but deep, deep beneath it. Yeah, this whole seemingly lifeless landscape is actually sitting on top of a massive hidden reservoir. And that is the key that unlocks all of this life. It's called an aquifer. And you can think of it like a giant natural sponge made of rock and sand buried way underground. Over thousands of years, it's soaked up rainwater, creating this huge ancient reservoir. But okay, how does all that water get to the surface? Well, oases usually pop up in natural depressions in the land. Imagine a funnel. All that underground water naturally flows toward the lowest point, and eventually it pulls up and breaks right through to create a little pocket of life. And you can see this in the real world. Over in the Sahara, the Siwa Oasis is actually 10 meters below sea level. And even the Baharia Oasis, at 95 meters high, is still sitting in a huge dip compared to all the land around it. But that is only one half of the story. Turns out, not all oases share this same underground secret. For another kind of oasis, the source of life comes from somewhere much, much higher. So what about a place like the Taklamakan Desert in China? Here, the trick to making an oasis has nothing to do with what's underground. For these oases, the answer isn't buried deep below. It's way up high. The lifeblood for the Taklamakan oases comes from these massive mountain ranges, the Tian Shan and Kunlun, that basically fence in the desert. So here's how it works. First, big rain clouds roll in, but they get blocked by those huge mountain peaks. They can't get over, so they just dump all their rain and snow right there. Then, all that water flows down the mountains, seeps into the ground, and travels toward the desert, until it finally emerges at the edge as a brand new oasis.
Now, this incredible feat of nature didn't just create a few pretty green spots. No, it fundamentally shaped human history. It created the essential highways of the ancient world. Think about it. Because of where they were, these little isolated pockets of water became the absolute most critical rest stops for traders and their caravans traveling the legendary Silk Road, connecting the East and the West. You really have to imagine what it was like being a merchant crossing this enormous, deadly landscape. Your entire journey, your life really, depended on reaching these specific spots. What started as just a simple place to get some water naturally grew into a huge, bustling city. These oases became these incredible centers for trade, for culture, and for rest. They were literal beacons of life in the middle of nowhere. And just how bustling are we talking? Well, ancient Chinese records from about 2,000 years ago say that the oasis city of Lulan had a population of 80,000 people. 80,000. That's a thriving metropolis, all powered by melted snow from a faraway mountain. Incredible. So you see, an oasis is so much more than just a source of water. It was actually the key that unlocked global connection. This quote really puts it all into perspective. Without oases, the Great Silk Road might never have existed. It's really that simple. The entire history of ancient global trade depended on these tiny green dots in the desert. They weren't just spots for survival, they were catalysts for connection. They took a place that many people called the Land of Death and completely transformed it into a vibrant crossroads for the entire world, letting goods, ideas, and cultures flow across otherwise impossible terrain. You know, the story of the oasis is just this powerful reminder of all the hidden systems that support life all around us. And it really makes you wonder, what other invisible forces flowing deep underground or from distant mountains are shaping our modern world in ways we don't even see?